Hello Internet, and welcome to my live reaction for Choujin X chapters 32-1 and 32-2. When we last left our heroes, Tokyo was able to catch up to Chandra and rescue Ellie, but at the cost of being basically unable to fight. He was so out of it after that rescue that he couldn't even raise at that point. He tried to tell Ellie to save herself and run, but Ellie decided to fight to save him, and had a, brutal battle with Chandra that ended, with quite the back and forth between them, and Ellie unlocking some kind of power within herself that I had initially thought, blew Chandra away. But looking at this first page in this chapter, it sure looks like Ellie absorbed him. Like, looking at the spiral that ends the last chapter, and this opening line from Ellie that I'm about to get to, I think he's within her, which could lead to a kind of Naruto and Kurama, or even Boruto and Momoshiki sort of vibe. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm not quite sure how I like the idea of Chandra being gone. He was a really nice enemy for Ellie, though if he's still somehow within her, that consciousness, even in like a Wendy and Irene kind of way, to make a far more casual brain in your head, consciousness in your brain, kind of reference. There could still be a lot of interesting conflict there. Anyway, so Ellie just sort of takes a minute after having absorbed Chandra and looks at that little mark in her palm. That man Chandra is inside me? And she takes a moment and panics. That's terrifying! There's no way! What the heck is going on? Come on, get out of there! I don't want to wipe my bum with this hand if you're in it! Ellie! Why does Ellie have all the best lines? Get out of me, mister! I don't want this! And then all of a sudden she is hoisted up. So last time there was a mention of, the fact that most of her clothes burned away. I'm not quite sure where she got this little top piece. Now that we're seeing, her underwear is exposed due to the fire. And while I don't really like that, I do at least there's really no, voyeurism going on in that shot. Which is a frustrating thing to have to say about shonen manga, but, it's the world we live in. Anyway, back to the actual point. I'm still not quite as recovered from my cold from the other day as I would like to be, so I'm still a little extra rambly. Anyway, that appears to be the pharmacist. It's a little hard to tell in that large panel on page 2, but we get a better shot in the next one. As Ellie is, hoisted up now, and we see he's using, strings on her neck and around her ankles to kind of raise her. And the pharmacist notes, "What's this? She absorbed Chandra." And that fully takes him by surprise. He is very shocked to see that. What the hell is she? And so here's an interesting thing. I sort of had this thought with that sudden burst of power. And tying to the sort of, lack of clarity as to whether Tokyo or Azuma is the next Choujin X that the series seems to be playing with. There also is Ellie, who, if she has this weird, unexplainable burst of power, could also be the next Choujin X. It's supposed to be a once-in-a-generation thing, but, Queen and Sora were both X's, and they were, also enemies. They were, contemporaries. So maybe it's possible to have there's a bunch of X's running around. I don't know. But anyway, the pharmacist, and there's something interesting about the way he's drawn in this bottom right panel of page 3. Sure, there's, the stitched together hand where we see the Kagemura sword, the Madarome, and another, hole, here. But his head is interesting, too. Because I've always assumed he was just, he had a face and was just wearing, a normal mask. But that mask seems much larger than the rest of his head, and I don't really get that impression in earlier panels, so I don't know. The pharmacist continues to be a fascinating a character we don't have a lot of context for. Anyway, he puts his hand inside that hole in his arm. Shall I steal it? No, wait. And we see the birds flap away as he sort of ponders. What if she steals me instead? Now his head looks a lot more normal there. Not the weirdness going on page 3. With again, the mask fitting very neatly onto his face. So I don't know if that was some artistic license from Ishida. I don't know. Anyway, someone calls out to him, "Hey, and it's Yumiko, who has wiped the floor with Azuma, and has come back victorious, dragging him by his cloak. And I guess the pharmacist got away from Ellie all of a sudden. But he asks her, "Oh?" And Yumiko's a little worse for wear, and we see some of her limbs are kind of malformed as they return, as like the mandala limbs return to herself. As Yumiko notes, "I took the kiddo out." The pharmacist sees, "So it seems. So, do I off him? All you need's the beast, right? Doesn't look like this guy's it." So yeah, she initially thought that Ozma was that beast of forethought or foresight or whatever. It's been pretty obvious for a while that she was wrong, what with Chandra's lines to Tokyo, but this pretty much confirms it. He's just, he's got some kind of power that the gang doesn't quite understand, but it's not that sort of all-powerful thing. But the pharmacist notes, "We will keep him alive just in case. He shares the same blood." Oh, which I'm assuming refers to the serum that he and Tokyo took together, because I don't think they're definitely not related. But the pharmacist, tying back to that little ominous moment in chapter 24, comments, "And I have a personal interest in him as well." And Yumiko questions, "You two buddies then?" That isn't the case." What ability did he have?" "His ability? He wasn't anything special. Seems to me he's got potential, though. It was heaps of fun." Anyways, job's all done. Yumiko, we see, I also love that throughout this whole sequence, we see her hand, her main left arm regrowing. It's just a little, decayed bit when she first shows up. And then by the end, her arm is back, but she only has, a couple fingers growing from a wrist stump. And now at this point, she's got basically the whole hand back, but the hand doesn't seem to have skin. Anyways, job's all done. Send the payment to the anonymous account if you could. I'll send you the address. The pharmacist, they're just doing business here. "Thank you. I'll make the payment now." So anyway, where's Chan? He was absorbed. And Yumiko doesn't seem to quite comprehend what the pharmacist is saying there. "Sounds fun." No, I mean literally. And then we cut to Tokyo, who maybe is up again and has wandered on, Azuma's corpse again. I thought that... Okay, I was somewhat misinterpreting the Ellie thing earlier. I thought he kind of left her due to the fact that she has some power he doesn't quite understand. But no, he just chose not to absorb her in case, within him, she ended up overpowering him or something. Because what Tokyo wakes up to see is... This might be the first we've really seen of the pharmacist's Choujin power. Because he seems to have cracked open the sky itself. And in these holes in the sky, he's holding Ellie and Azuma. To, greet him. To greet Tokyo. And Yumiko's in the background, not really caring. But, once again, he is seeing Azuma's corpse. But, we get a closer look at Tokyo and Azuma there. And he just full-on panics, just like he did the last time. And using, by ripping open that hole that he looked at earlier, he's able to grow the size of that sky hole to where it looks like a card. And throws the two of them into, a portal in there. As Tokyo, he grows, a wing starts to form, was my initial assumption. And as Azuma and Ellie like fade away, the pharmacist beckons Tokyo. It's a sudden like silent sequence. Like there's something so sudden about the cut to Tokyo that starts this whole sequence that just throws my entire like thought process off a little bit. But we see Tokyo, and we see that like wing is growing out of his eye. And like with a claw, he reaches for the pharmacist. And the pharmacist just tells him, come. And we see a cigarette. And I think that's kind of it. I'm not quite sure, like that doesn't seem to be the pharmacist's cigarette. But we do get a distinct image of a cigarette. Might be Yubiko, possibly. But either way, whatever that is, both the pharmacist and Tokyo also go into it, as Yubiko just sits there. And then it goes away. They're gone. Tokyo is once again kidnapped, this time with Ellie and Azuma. Chapter 32, Tower of Mourning, Part 1. And now we're back at the fight with Hiroto, with like the skeletons. As he's fighting Shadow. Now then, Shadow Shent, I've got plenty of skeletons to spare. And Shadow is just repeating to himself, till we beat the source. Till we beat Mori. I guess he's saying, like, until we beat Mori, they're just gonna keep on coming. What's your move? How long can you hold them back with that veil? And what's your power to begin with, anyway? I mean, it's just darkness, ain't it? I figured that'd be kind of common knowledge. Look, I might just subject those dear women to my hobby. Okay. I guess turning them into skeletons. And then he gets an alert on his phone. Just kidding. And he looks at the text from the pharmacist. Job complete. It seems the beast has been secured. I would have finished with a teensy bit more time, but I suppose I've got to get going. And he looks down, as he's turning to leave, he looks down again at the battlefield and comments, then again, this feels like a wasted opportunity. It's not as though God Almighty will strike me down if I stay a little longer. Okay, I thought this was going to be the moment where they just, get a reprieve and then realize that, they're nowhere near done with this immediate threat due to Tokyo's kidnapping and Azuma and Ellie's kidnapping. Which, interestingly enough, is the three people I suspect might be the real Choujin X. So, that's a fun little note there. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Oh! And then what the hell is all this? Because he has that thought, it's not as though God Almighty will strike me down if I stay a little longer. And then we get a freakily, hyper-realistic picture of Hiroto in the bottom right corner, and then just fucked up faces all behind him. I don't know. I got no clue what's going on there. I'm not sure if this is Hiroto or if this is a bit of irony, the whole not as if God Almighty will strike me down bit. Because the fact their faces calls to mind masks, which could tie in with the pharmacist. And they don't really seem to fit what we've seen of Mori's powers. I'm not sure who's what that line is, but oh, this is against Mori. And I saw something on the next page which definitely ties into the whole God question. But the faces all around him, this is some freaky fucking imagery. What times do you feel God? And he just looks around, what? And the faces all repeat, God, God, God. And then Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. And someone tells him, you see, can't you feel it? God is absolute. What is certain, though, someone tells this what the weird little thing with the circles on the previous page. The couple of things that aren't faces on is that the 15-16 spread tells him what is certain though. God exists. God is absolute. Okay. God is psycho share glitch. Coerced crash. Oh, it's Sato. I recognize that fucking head of hair behind him anywhere. That was a Sato-based hallucination. Which is, I mean, it's good for the artistic, like flexing that surreal muscle. I still fucking hate Sato. He's a bastard, and I hate his guts. But it does the job. Hiroto falls. The skeletons all, with Hiroto's defeat, the skeletons all just kind of collapse. As Maiko notes, the skeletons are Mr. Sato. And we see... Hold up, that's a really tiny panel there, but it kind of looks like Sato just shot Hiroto. But it also looks like it could be Hiroto, due to the hallucination, is just like typing out God, 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 God on his phone. But Sato comments as he like stands over. Mori doesn't seem shot. Doesn't seem like he was killed, but still is out. I sent a large amount of unpleasant information into his brain to make him glitch out. The resentful vibrations released by the oscillations of the dead he manipulates, and the vocal blades he uses to attack, make Mori's abilities appear to have dynamism, but they actually require fine control, though he seems to be a formidable opponent when facing many people. He's vulnerable to the unexpected. So, okay, because he has to be so focused on his ability, when something outside of what he expects happens, he's completely taken by surprise. But he also, he looks decayed at the last time you see him on page 21. His cheeks seem hollowed in, he seems like he's decayed. And Sato questions Shadow Owl and Hachimaki, where are the other kids? And Shadow Owl answers, I'm not sure about the others who aren't here. We sent Oda to look for them. And Hachimaki seems a little upset at Sato here, which is fair, Sato sucks. Why is Sato here? And Maiko just seems a little upset here. And it does look like Hiroto is dead. Because Sato notes, he could have been a valuable source of intel. Well, you all needed help. It had to be done. But what that little line there contextualizes is the discomfort we see from Maiko, tying into the general sense of Sato as Yamato Mori's dark side. That even, I had sort of been working under the assumption that a big part of Tokyo's arc would be breaking apart from everyone at Yamato Mori. That Yamato Mori's firm belief in the rule of law is, we will see throughout the series, horribly fragmented, and that will put and I still think we will, as we see here with Sato, but it still is, but that would put him distinctly in conflict with his would-be friends, with Ellie, with Maiko, with Simon, and now tying in the previous chapters, theft imagery for Ellie's victory over Chandra, and this bit here, we're seeing greater and greater discomfort with the kind of black and white, good and evil, rule of law thing from people I thought would end up being Yamato Mori, loyalists. So lots of interesting things, is my point. I think this might be Sato's line, commenting on the fact that he killed Hiroto. It seems I still have a long way to go as well. Haha. And Maiko is not really amused, is not really willing to laugh at Hiroto's death. But Sato tells the group, so, tell me about the situation. And they both look over and see Simon, dragging himself. Barely alive, but alive, importantly. Kagemura! And he's just there. And Maiko, of course, goes to him first. Simon! And Hachimaki checks on him. Were you poisoned? And Kagemura looks up. Everyone is very unhappy to see Sato. And I don't know, maybe they're a little... I hope the answer is, I hope this unhappiness is not, he came because he knew the attack would happen because he's a tower spot. Tower's the organization, right? tower spy or something. That would just be eh. But anyway, Mr. Sato, why did you come back? And Sato looks at him. And he holds up a book. I forgot this. Called, like, Nation? I don't know if it has any relevance at all. It's extremely valuable to me. I couldn't get it out of my mind. I was simply so worried about it that I came back. And there you have it. So, what about you? And they're always, like, the way he turns that conversation I mean, I know I'm always suspicious of Sato at all times, but it feels a little malevolent. I was with Kurahara, but then... and I guess he tells the gang what happened. And Sato comments, I see. So Chandra Hume made an appearance too. You're still mobile, Mamama? Yes? Give Kagamura first aid, then come meet us. Yes, sir. And again, she looks deeply unhappy to be talking to Sato here. Like that killing has deeply impacted her view of the man. Though again, I may be projecting. And Simon is just sort of solemn for a moment. And then calls out, Mr. Sato! One of them, the Chimera. So he hadn't told them about the pharmacist yet. Not until right then. And Sato notes, I understand. I also want to join. But Sato just cuts him off. What are you talking about? You will remain on standby. And again, while that is probably the best move, given that Simon is so beat up, there's just something in the way that is framed that adds a certain type of malevolence to Sato. And Maiko tells him, Simon, let's get some Bastatol and Turbo Razor. I can work out what Turbo Razor is, that, you know, it helps them raise better. Or, like, if they're unable to raise, it can, like, help with a raise. I don't know what Bastatol is. That's not a real thing, is it? Like, a sort of using one bit of, like, fictional medicine in real No, I looked up Bastatol and I'm getting Bastits, the Egyptian goddess. So no. But anyway, we see Maiko hears a sniffle from Simon. I promised Kurahara that I'd save him. Yeah, that didn't work out well, given that he is currently we cut to Tokyo, being held captive. And I believe meeting the mother. He's at some gate with, like, a woman's face at the top. My best guess is meeting Chandra and the pharmacist's mysterious mother. What the? To be continued. And I do love the way that Tokyo is lit in this last panel of part 1. I'm gonna get to part 2 real fast, of course. But, like, the fact that he's mostly in silhouette with just a little bit of light on, like, because he's looking to the side, like, on the front of his face. It's a really neat effect. But yeah, this is... Looking at part 1 on its own, there's a lot of good stuff here. There's still that weird transition into the Tokyo scene that leads to, everyone getting captured. But it largely is there to kind of end the island stuff. That the real drama is over, or not that the drama is over, but they're pretty much going to be off the island very soon. Our main trio is already off the island. Yumiko no longer gives a damn. Hiroto is dead, thanks to Sato in a, just not to harp on, Sato is really, really creepy all the time. But, like, I'm looking back at his appearance. His first appearance as he, like, is walking out of the shadows is so ominous. Like, he's just so creepy. And just seems so malicious all the time. Like, God, I hate this man. And everyone is starting to feel a little bit more uncomfortable around him too, seeing him just murder Hiroto like that. And I mean, even the fact that he like his I didn't point this out earlier, but his disappointment at killing Hiroto was not out of feeling bad about killing. It's about not being able to torture him. Like, there's not a lot of good feeling I'm able to conjure up about Sato. Also, hold on. Has he always had that necklace? because he's currently rocking an upside-down peace sign necklace, which is just so on the nose. It is so on the nose. We only get a couple shots of it. Once as he is exiting, in his first appearance in the chapter, he's exiting the darkness. And then again with the, it had to be done, meaning killing Hiroto. Which, okay, that's on the nose. But anyway, really good part 1. And now Tokyo is caught in the pharmacist's home base. So let's move right along to part 2. As we open with that gate, with the face of the gate, staring down at Tokyo, and he's understandably creeped out. Chapter 32, Tower of Mourning, Part 2. And he just dashes away from the gate, right into the pharmacist, who tells him her name is Kate Nether. It looks like Nether, but it has an extra, E with the apostrophe. But also those first 3 letters of Ne, right, is the sort of thing you see when people change names, especially married women, to bring up the maiden name. The maiden name would have the Ne before it, so that might just be a coincidence. The Nether is definitely not a coincidence, but that might also be a part of it, that she has some past title. I don't know. Her name is Kate Nether. A person can enter a hole in her body, and can exit through a hole in another's body. I discovered Kate squandering her powers on frivolous street performances, and so I immediately came upon the brilliant idea of this gate. Okay, she's not naturally a gate. She was a person, and he turned her into that, so that there would be a big ol' hole that people could walk through, which is fucked up. Okay. Her powers were somewhat weak, so I took certain steps to force her into a chaos state. Then I expanded her Genesis hole, which is quite a name, quite a whole concept, honestly. Not gonna spend too long pondering the going into her hole thing. Well, this explanation is getting long, so another time. Better too big than too small. So I've been talking a lot with a lot of the villains. Both, Ricardo and Ume are obviously the more obvious ones. But even Chandra, and that little bit we had of him before he was absorbed, and, the way they're presented as not being so terrible. They may do some things that are opposed to our heroes, but, Ricardo's a nice guy who likes to joke around with kids. Chandra genuinely believes that what he's doing is for the betterment of Yamato. They have a goodness to them. The pharmacist, though, is just kind of terrible from what we've seen so far. Though maybe even he sees this as a means to an end. He'll terrify he'll do whatever horrors he can if that's what it takes. Maybe, we'll see. Anyway, he then addresses Tokyo directly. My, it seems your regenerative abilities are quick. How fitting for a bestial type. Or perhaps there's something different about you and your pedigree. And Tokyo is not focused on any of this. What happened to the others? The other 2? Where are they? And there's a single silent panel of the pharmacist before he just tells Tokyo, they are dead. And I don't believe that. He's trying to rile... they wouldn't kill the 2 other leads off screen. I think he's trying to rile Tokyo up to a chaos state. Just like he did with Kate. To make that gate. If he riles Tokyo up into a chaos state, maybe that creates that sort of beast of forethought, or foresight, or whatever it was, that was talked about earlier. But yeah, Tokyo is just, he's not actually in white hair, as we see later, but, the white hair there is it's a very Suishida thing. Trauma creating white hair. As he's just terrified at that. And he just breaks down laughing. Oh, yeah! That was a joke. Okay, it was just a little, not even he wasn't even trying to lead him on for a long time. Just a quick little gag. With Tokyo's deep-seated trauma being the punchline. They are safe. Haha. I feel as if I'm starting to understand you a bit more. Now shall we go see your friends? Come, stand up. And we see, I believe this is the tower. That is, though it, like, when we, when we saw it in the Sinker arc, it seemed a lot more of an industrial tower, whereas some of these little, like, the windows here look kind of castle-y. But they are, like, trying to climb the outskirts of the tower. We see both of them are, like, holding onto chains to climb, as the pharmacist tells Tokyo. The entire structure is lifting, so keep a tight grip on the handholds. And Tokyo can, like, gets a little bit of vertigo looking down at the city below him. This place. Yes? This is Omega Tower. I've seen it before, but never visited. Then, congratulations are in order. And Tokyo, ever just a nice kid, is just, thanks. We call this place the Tower of Mourning. Mourning? What exactly are you mourning? And with that, the pharmacist just jumps off the ledge to fall down into the city below. Alright, that's the end of the series right now, I guess. But Tokyo jumps to save him. Which says a lot about Tokyo as a character. Still holding onto the chains so that he can not fall to his death. And he misses, but the pharmacist seems fine. As like, the pharmacist is now basically perpendicular to the tower here. And he points down. Tokyo is still holding onto those chains for dear life. Down? And the pharmacist just stares at him as we see a wide shot of the tower. The windmills in the distance give a nice sense of scale as to how big this thing is. But I guess at the base of the tower, we see Ellie? Or something? Because there's that down bit that the pharmacist makes. So, is that the base of the tower, or is the pharmacist just having another joke at Tokyo's expense? I don't know. But now we see Ellie, like, asleep on a bed. There's, like, a little stone steps up to her bed. And Tokyo just runs right to her. Ellie! Like, 2 panels for those 3 letters. And Ellie doesn't really respond. She just lies there as Tokyo, it panics at her. And she farts in her sleep. So that Tokyo finally realizes that she's alive. What a relief. And the pharmacist thinks, putting the beast aside, the girl is an enigma. I initially believed that she simply had the potential for contagion and had originated from Chandra. But is that not the case? Because the fact that she was able to absorb Chandra is a much bigger deal, I guess, than the pharmacist had figured. Tokyo sort of quietly reprimands the sleeping Ellie. Now's not the time to blow smoke out of your butt. But I think this is the pharmacist's thoughts. Where is Chandra? Like, even within her, I guess, confuses him. But more importantly, do I allow a depriver other than the Nue to exist? Is the Nue his title too? Let me do some wiki hunting. Yeah, because I know Nue is commonly used with chimeras, right? Like Nue in Boruto is Sumire's little chimera pet. It's a word. I'm not quite sure the root of the word. But it's similar to the Greek chimera. And yeah, he's referring to himself like that. Which, I mean, we see though that he does sort of take people's powers, as we saw with Kagemura's relative. And then in the end, Ellie did that to Chandra. Initially, while Chandra was still alive, She took that power just by coming into... Like, what I'm getting at is... Was Ellie's power... Is Ellie's true form a smoke Choujin, as we presumed? Or does she absorb the powers of other Choujin? I'm thinking about Yamada and Yamada Kun and the Seven Witches. How, like, it's initially presumed that he has the body swap power as a witch, and then you find out actually he's only copying other witches' powers. So, I don't know, I'm curious about a similar thing with that from Ellie. Is that depriver her true nature? Anyway, Tokyo, with Ellie, now knowing that Ellie is alright, turns to the pharmacist. Where's the other person? There should have been one more. Take me to him. Please. He struggles with the please there, but he does get it out. And the pharmacist questions, and leave her? Will you have her wait here? Huh? Right. She's fast asleep. I don't know about waking her. Then shall we leave her? So they do seem to be the base of the tower, given this kind of wide shot. It's sort of the vibe I get. Oh, wait a second. Let's bring her, actually. Wake up, Ellie. And Ellie does wake up. But is still very much like half asleep as she climbs the tower, to go find Azuma. And she questions, think they got anything valuable here? Let's snatch it all up. Yeah, Tokyo? Hee. And Tokyo calls back to her, Ellie, open your eyes, this is reality. You really don't hold back in dreams. If you fall, you're dead. So keep a tight hold of those rings. And Ellie comments that, yeah, got it. And the pharmacist addresses them from a bit further up. This way. Are you sure she is alright? Fine, thank you. I can take care of myself. Ellie's just, she's a little grouchy. And then we see this long stone hallway lit with candles. The pharmacist is just casually walking up. It's a little ominous. And we see, like, monks in prayer. Holy Mother, O Holy Mother, we beseech thee to save the wretched souls. So again, there is this language of save, which might just be a cult being a cult, but looking at Chandra, going back to that Chandra scene from I think, chapter 30, there is an element of genuine belief in that cause. There was an element of genuine belief in that cause. I don't know. We'll see exactly what is going on with this cult. As Ellie looks around, what is this place? She's fully awake now. I reckon there's hundreds of monks. Welcome back. This is Tokyo, just sort of tired. Glad to see you're awake. And Tokyo, as the two of them climb the steps, Tokyo hears all the Holy Mother, and he calls up to the pharmacist. What's the Holy Mother? And the pharmacist turns back down. The object of their faith. And he just hears over and over again, Holy Mother, Holy Mother, Holy Mother, Holy Mother. And he just thinks to himself, but that doesn't explain anything. Never mind, just forget it for now. Once we get to Azuma, how will we escape? Can I manage flying again? I've recovered a little, but... and Ellie, always Ellie, just comments, wonder where they all go to the John. Alright, Ellie, never change. Tokyo is still hard at work thinking through the escape plan. Can we really shake off that no-mask dude? Especially if it's just the three of us. And I guess sensing his... Ellie's always a wonderful little mix of genuine concern and also, like, making dumb potty jokes. Because she sees Tokyo's fear and gives him a hand to comfort him. And they have this sweet little moment as they keep climbing the stairs. And then we see these statues lit by the candles of women with, like, hands grasping them from behind. And we see, like, the sweat dripping down Tokyo's face. He's getting, like, increasingly nervous. And as they go further up, they see a throne at the top of the stairs. And that might be the mother. She's got these kind of, like, white wings behind her. And there's someone else there. Oh, hold on, it's the hand head. We've seen the hand head before, haven't we? That's what we leave on, is her head is just clasped hands. Who have we seen that from? Is that just from the mother when Chandra, like, prayed to her, I think, post-Sinker? Or is that part of Queem's aesthetic? I'm gonna see what I can find on Queem in the wiki. There's very little images here. Just this sort of image from the Volume 1 Omake, and not really what I'm looking for right now. But I don't know. I think we saw those hands when Chandra was praying to the Queen. Or not, you know what I mean, to the Holy Mother, to the Mother. I don't know why I said Queen. Oh, because I got Queen and Queen confused. That's why. But yeah, this chapter, if part 1 was ending the whole, the drama of the island due to the main trio's kidnapping and Hiroto's death, this is setting up this sort of storyline at the tower. As we're introduced, as we spend more time with the pharmacist in this chapter than I think we spent in the entire series so far. Getting to see a little bit of him as a character. And it's this, what really calls out to me is the deep, deep cruelty on display. That we see through his sense of humor. He opens with, or the first bit of cruelty we see is what he did to Kate. Turning her from, a fun street performer to a gate. She's got like looking back at that first shot of her head, and the closing shot of the previous chapter, he's like stuck light bulbs into her. Like she's a piece of furniture. She just exists for this job. She is no longer allowed to live by being stuck in her chaos state. And I don't think this is going to be like Shiozaki, where there was still hope for him. She's just like a gate forever. Which is fucked up. It's really fucked up. And then, we have the dead joke. Just to terrify Tokyo. Like I said earlier, there's been a lot of little moments to sort of humanize some of the bad guys in the series. Or bad guys I use very loosely, depending on how exactly Ishida crafts the series going forward. But the pharmacist does not get that humanization. He is just kind of an asshole. That is sort of the cusp of his whole deal. Is he's an ass. He has fun with it. He's a charismatic ass. He plays a little joke by jumping off the jumping off the tower, which I'm still not quite sure what the point of that was beyond scaring Tokyo a little bit. And he teases a lot. Should we just leave Ellie here when Tokyo wants to see Asuma? But it's all filtered through this cruelty. He's already planning to kill Ellie while he's joking about her. It's like I said, it's getting a lot more about the pharmacist than we've ever gotten before, and it's very elucidating. But also he's a fucked up guy. And then we have the mother, with her prayer hands, which I don't know. I'm trying to remember if I had broached the theory about Sora Siraha. I feel like I'm kind of like I'm about to present a theory that the mother is somehow Sora Siraha, despite the fact she found Yamato Mori and she is now apparently opposed to Yamato Mori. That this is her because she has that sort of religious habit, which ties into the prayer. And I'm trying to remember if I've broached that theory before. I feel like I might have at some point. I'm not sure. But I think there is, I don't know, that would be an interesting little twist. I'm not sure how that would come across. But yeah, there's a lot of fascinating little tidbits in this half of the chapter that I'm really curious to see what it all is leading towards. We have met the mother. We have met her. We're in the enemy base. And now what? Is this the moment we find out what they want with Tokyo and perhaps Ellie and Azuma? Is this the moment we start to find out the other side of things? We've seen Yamato Mori in their very sort of straight and narrow, follow the law or get the shit beat out of you sort of style. Are we about to see a sort of counter style here? Or is this just gonna be they're really bad? And whatever Yamato Mori's problems, the bulk of this organization needs to fall, even if there are some good apples within them. I don't know. But, you know, tying that in with Sato and how, for whatever good Yamcha does, it has some really terrible people in its ranks, there's a lot of things there. And, you know, I'm always excited to see where Ishida is going with that kind of theme. So with that said, I'm going to leave this video off here. Hope you'll enjoy the chapter and the video itself. If you did, feel free to drop me a like or subscribe, or, you know, do whatever makes it happy, you know? And as always, your life is your own, okay? Bye!